Hello and welcome to the Black Bite Podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm going to explain to you a great boss idea I just had.
I will purge the summary of all the Earth before you continue to speak upon said boss.
I will whip out my slide whistle and play it until you stop.
Okay, so the RGB Knights are great and fantastic and awesome. We should totally do this boss. By the way, Josh, how are you today?
So that's how I feel.
That's how you feel? Okay, about everything I'm saying. Okay, good to know. We're just going to cancel the entire project. The podcast is going to go up in flames. I blame Josh, okay? Also joining us this week is Allan.
You guys don't want to know what this boss idea was. You really don't.
It was fantastic. It's
a 10
out of 10.
We will throw it in the bin of we'll get to it when can we get to it, because right now we just need a prototype. Seriously.
Yeah, okay.
On top of that, I'm also someone who's like, surprise, I just put my hand up and go, no, because I don't want to be arrested.
You won't get arrested. We'll get murdered. There's a difference.
I vote no, because we can make bosses with better taste.
Hey, we'll get murdered, and if we get murdered, man, we're making bank.
I don't want to be.
We just need to piss off the feminists in the most crazy way ever. One of them will show up to the office with a gun, and life will be okay. Okay?
Okay, first of all, feminists don't do shit. They just yell at your face real hard and convince other people to do it. I mean, this is like the only way.
I mean, what do you expect? Steve Shives to show up to the office with a handgun?
I suspect.
I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't be surprised with him at this point.
Steve Shives shows up to the office with a handgun. He's gonna blow our brains out. And we just sit there and we just blame Shane and
I would freaking jump over a bunch of desks and ninja wall run over a wall just so I can kick someone in the face.
We should talk about stuff today that's not about these boss idea. Josh, I'm disappointed in you.
Because
I just saw your first topic. Josh, I am very disappointed in you.
Josh, what did I tell you?
I have a reason for it, and that's a good reason.
What did I tell you?
Because I actually have a Sherpa to help me play in that fucking thing, and I'm like, oh, this is actually not too bad.
Do you want a fucking medal?
See, the thing is, it's not a very good insult at all. So I'm like, yeah, I do. Please give me this medal.
You bought For Honor, Josh, instead of listening to your friend.
Because everyone's like, get
PUBG.
Get PUBG, get this third-person shooter that's kind of like, fugly and shitty, and everyone streams it all the fucking time.
You're making me want to do
You're
BB
not real
Neckos.
news. You're fake news. Get the point.
Anyway.
Great, we got cat ears with a bikini again. Great, fantastic. Hold on. Just fuck this shit. Get off.
I got the best one. GG,
hold on.
read.
I need to type this in one more time, because for some reason, my random rolls in this, I get better ones. And that's not too bad. Although
not too bad.
Yeah,
mine is better, and you know it.
I mean, there's just straight up boning in it, so yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. But back on topic. For Honor, Josh. I want to. Okay. You know what, Josh? You're on trial. What's your defense for For Honor?
For Honor is actually a very good combat, simulation of what if a samurai and a Satyrian soldier, and what if a ninja, and what if a Roman soldier, and what if all these different eras of fighters get into an arena and they have to like battle like in an actual battle and have to control points, and it's like, oh, this is pretty neat idea and concept, and they actually pulled it off pretty well, and I think they did a really decent job at it. The only thing that sucks is the fringes around the corners of this game that are like, where's the dedicated servers? We don't have any. Why don't you have any? Because we thought PvP was a good idea. And they're like, no, because people rage quit really fucking hard. So it's like,
actually, I will actually point out this too about For Honor. Where's the balance? Where's the proper balancing?
I played so far. I've only been playing one character type, and there has been definite other character types have been a lot stronger. And also, there's a video of this. If you look for the For Honor tournament that just happened like a couple of days ago, the person who won this tournament cheesed his way to victory. Like legitly, there's a way to cheese out your moves faster, or it adds like an extra frames to your moves, so you get more you can hit your opponent a lot longer. You basically whip out more moves than you're supposed to, and it's called, what was it, lock framing or lock attacking or something. You just keep going in and out of lock.
It's called lock framing.
Yeah. So basically, you keep going in and out of this position, and it turns out, it just resets your moves or your certain moves, and just you can keep doing them over and over and over. So it was like, yeah, of course the guy who won this tournament did this move repeatedly. Like, frick. And this is before they added the patches, because they announced these patches after the tournament. So it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Do you realize what you're doing?
Okay. So far I've heard a good thing and a bad thing, and I'm now going to ruin the bad thing.
Yeah.
Because I love me some Vikings. I love me some knights. I love me some samurai.
Yeah.
Allan's what I'm gathering from this is Allan likes samurais, and he loves Vikings. So thus this game is perfect, right?
No.
Okay.
There's some definite things going on.
Okay, no. So here's the thing. I played as the knights when this game was free to play for the weekend that one time. And so I played it. I played it aggressively. I really enjoyed the character I chose, which was the Conqueror, which is the shield and mace. Actually, sorry, not a mace. It's a flail, which is a weapon that never existed. But that's beside the point.
Yep.
But the thing is, like, I'm sitting down and I'm playing this, and I'm like, it seems like a really cool idea, except for three problems for me with the knights versus samurai versus Vikings. Everyone either chooses Vikings or samurai, for one.
Oh, I was a weird one out. I was a weird one out because I always choose the knights, because I was like, well, they're the most rounded, so whatever.
Yeah. On top of that, the base classes for each faction are just straight up two-handed weapon wielding soldiers. Yeah. Which for the samurai it makes sense. I'm okay with that. You know what? Fine. The Vikings are supposed to be
the best faction in the entire game.
No. Are supposed to be like frontline like round shields carrying axe or arming sword, or Viking sword carrying troopers who just rush in, hit you in the face, and bash you down. Knights are supposed to either be carrying if either heavy, like tall, large shields with bastard swords, as D&D refers to them, which is a sword, hand and a half swords, or carrying claymores, which is what you see the guys carrying, heavy swords, which is what you see them carrying in the game, or what they more often were seen with, their shield and a spear. But all of them are carrying the absurdly huge axe, the absurdly huge sword, and the absurdly huge katana. Okay, fine. You know what? Okay,
So
that's number two.
You
for me.
you hate a video game for being a video game.
I hate a video game for being a video game. I'm sorry.
This is all I'm hearing.
Then again, I'm also a big stickler for history, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't see Wonder Woman. Don't hate me. I just don't want to see a movie that gets history wrong.
Even if a fictitious history, you're still pissy.
Well, okay, if it makes sense for the fictitious history, it makes sense. But considering this is supposed to be set during World War One, no, I have to like put my hands up and go.
What?
But yeah, that's just okay. I'm getting off topic.
Wait. This is supposed to be set during World War what?
No, not the fighting game, the fucking movie. But anyway.
Oh, are we talking about?
Anyways, okay. And number two is. The sieges are insanely one-sided in some cases because of how the map layouts are set up.
Yeah.
Like they are staggered one way so hard. The 3v3 system or the 3v3 or the 4v4 or the 5v5. I can't remember what the max number of party members you can have.
Like 5v5, I think.
is insanely geared towards the fact that you have the people who play a certain character are going to win, and that's the thing is like the spear person for the samurai, and the what's their fucking name, the Valkyries for the Vikings are just speed characters, so they just trounce whoever they're up against and then they move off. I would prefer it if it was a time locked area that you were fighting in, and after you beat your opponent, you had a 10-second window to like. Okay, 10 seconds. I'm locked in my area with my opponent. I can now assess who do I need to go to back up, and then all the areas. Then you drop, and you can go to another area and help someone else out.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like, oh, the Dukes push off the edge. Oh look, I'm now free. Mind you, that requires some pretty damn good mental game. And the final thing, which is number 5, the fact that there's no dedicated servers for a PvP game
is bullshit, and everyone should hate it. I agree, sir.
Oh yeah,
It's not just retarded. It's just. Oh, okay. The reason why non-dedicated servers work for first-person shooters, which is not a bad thing. Like it makes sense for why first-person shooters is you usually end up with someone being the dedicated host for the game. They have no latency, but everybody else has a little bit. It's never too bad unless the person as the host is experienced lag to the main server, which is the game HUD. But with a game like this, where it's 5 people versus 5 people. In a third-person match where there's a lot of side-to-side movement with a one person in front of you or 2 people in front of you, or when you're in the siege battles where there's a lot of small bosses on the table, and like how you kill and what you do determines how the score goes. You can't have just a dedicated. You can't have a host player, because unfortunately, if they experience latency, the latency will kick in, and it just ruins the gameplay.
Yeah.
It trounces the gameplay, and the gameplay is solid.
Oh yeah.
Except for the fact that there's the 2 broken classes being speed classes, but besides the point.
Yeah, it definitely needs some balances up in that game because because I know for the other guy I'm playing with, who I've just reconnected because he decided to reconnect with me in the first place, just playing through it and just, him pointing out a bunch of these things, it was like, oh, it's like, there's definitely some good things in here, but because Ubisoft being Ubisoft, they have to fuck it up in some way. Like, they have to fuck it up. Like, it's like against their contract to not fuck it up.
We're not allowed to make a good video game, guys. We have to make something that sucks.
No, guys, we're allowed to make a mediocre to okay game. We can't make excellent. We just can't. I'm sorry, it's against our contract.
What?
But yeah, like so far I have been liking the shit out of it, and whenever I get into like those battles between me and like one other person in those arenas, freaking they're hysterical because I can get in situations of like, oh man, I am so dead here. Then I realize, wait, I'm by a cliff. Maybe it gets a little bit closer. And off you go. And he completely dies, and I'm like, woo!
It's so nice. It's so nice.
Yeah.
But like for the same time, I'm like, it makes you feel like people who just use the terrain, which I've experienced fights where people just do nothing but throw people off edges or pick and toss, which is another way to cheese, by the way. I fucking hate that, where you just stun, throw, oh, you're off an edge.
You're dead.
Yeah. And it's actually like really frustrating because it just makes it makes you feel like it's just not worth playing, because you feel kind of like cheated for the fact that you're doing like you're getting just basically what is cheesed. And that's the reason why I've never enjoyed it, is because surprise
Because Ubi.
Ubi.
Because Ubi
You feel like like only terrain makes a difference for certain characters now, and it's just like.
So we should make a game for battle against Romans and ninjas and bullshit, and have certain terrains.
Okay. By the way, now I'm curious because you've mentioned Romans twice now, and I'm just scrolling through the update server to find out where the fuck they are, because I'm actually really curious about the Romans.
Oh, because there is a Roman dude, but I think it's an accessory you have to put to get the helmet that they need. Because they're straight up Romans. It's just you need to find the helmet. That's the dumb thing. Like, it don't give you the helmet in the first place.
Okay, now I'm looking this up online because, jeez.
Because I forget which dude it is. Fuck. I need to look up the character list. But like, one of the dude's options for his customization is, oh, here's that feathered hat for the Romans that they typically wear. I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally a Roman thing. For honor character list, but
he's for the knights, which is awesome, and he's a hybrid type.
Yes, I think that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Because so for that dude, it's like they're like, again, like all the guys I've been looking at, they're all these different fighters from different centuries all coming together in one spot. I'm like, that's kind of cool. It's like weird Smash Bros for history. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of neat. I mean, it's more arcadey than history, but whatever. I can get into this. If once they figure out their balance issues, this game should be not too bad. But
they will never figure out the balance issues. And I'm just looking. By the way, I'm looking at the hybrids, and I just saw the Lawbringers, and it's different. They're a mix of a heavy and a vanguard. I'm like, okay. They're a mix of a heavy and an assassin. Okay. Nobody actually has a mix of assassin and vanguard. Okay. Centurion, a mix of a vanguard and an assassin. Why?
Because reasons, Alan.
If anything, they should be using a heavy shield.
So
can
I ask something?
Yes.
Why are you specifically angry about this stupid video game that sucks and nobody likes and totally is not as good as PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds? Josh, I'm still disappointed.
Because it could have been great.
Yeah.
It had the potential. It had such amazing potential.
Yeah.
And it squandered it. And that's the reason why I'm so upset, because like I see the potential this game had. I saw it. I witnessed it. I screamed in battle, "Witness me" one night, and it witnessed me as I jumped into a fight, pushed someone off a cliff, and then tumbled down after them.
Do you think
it's like this game had such amazing potential, and it just squanders it because it lets a certain style of cheese exist that they could easily patch out. They make the random drops from PvE just feel so useless. They make
I can see why you're mad. Now here's the second part of the question. Do you think that there's room for another game like this that's maybe set in sci-fi, so that way then you have a little bit more diversity in weapons and stuff like that?
No, I don't think that. No.
So you think this was a one and done and this game fucked it up?
This is a one and done. This game fucked it up.
Well, that's disappointing to hear, Alan, because I'm afraid that we have to now switch gears to Black Mind's newest project, For Honor in Space.
No.
Way more balancing than Ubisoft.
10 times the amount of balancing.
Unless it has Jedi versus
Other Jedi.
The Peacekeepers from Black Tower, plus versus the what are they fucking called in? Jeez, I'm trying to remember what they are. The fucking
somethings.
Yeah, like the big one I can think of is Jedi, of course.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Like there was another sci-fi universe where they had melee, like heroes that were like especially melee
class.
And it's just
is it from Battlestar Galactica?
No.
No,
that would be that would be another good game to use.
So, okay. Can we move on from this game to another game that we're both excited about, that me and Alan both saw and were like, oh fuck, this might be the greatest game ever of all time.
Oh, my nipples.
Alan started rubbing his nipples, like he showed me this, and then I was like, man, I don't.
No. So here's the thing. Okay, so I know what game we're talking about. We're talking about Iron Harvest, correct?
No, we were talking about Fists of Jesus. I'm joking. We're talking about Iron Harvest. Yeah.
Okay, Iron Harvest. So I saw this because I play a game called Armello, and they mentioned like they have a friend studio that is making this. It's a diesel punk Company of Heroes like strategy game.
Is it?
But Jesus Christ, it looks fun as hell.
It looks amazing. Like it looks like the Gallowhorn. Like it has robots like the Gallowhorn from like Linus Tech Tips. Like it looks very realistic. If that makes sense.
Yeah. By the way, I have to look up what the Gallowhorn looks like because I'm just trying to remember.
So it's like a giant egg with like 6 legs. But this like looks very similar to me, and it's like, you know what? Like I could live with this. Like this is cool. Like this is really cool stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, they're basically doing more like less humanoid and more like, well, how would you do a diesel like engine mech in 1920, which is when this is set. This is set right after the Great War. Germany wasn't defeated. Germany won in the East, and they are allowed to keep their lands. Poland exists. Yes, Poland's a faction. By the gods, Poland's a faction. Russia's a faction. The Prussians are a faction. I think the Austrian-Hungarians are a faction. I don't know how many other factions we're getting, though. Mm-hmm. But, like, the gameplay looks like very Company of Heroes style. Mm-hmm. And it looks just like, yeah, no, you, like, cool, destructible terrain. Your mech, and, like, there's a mech that has a rifle, that has a bayonet, and in the trailer, it shows him charge up to one of these quadruped mechs that are supposed to be heavy assault things, and hit it, and run it into a wall, and the troops that were hiding behind the wall hear it, and a second before the wall, like, the mechs hit the wall, they scatter away from it, and the wall, tech mechs go through it, and I'm like, oh, the collision mechanics in this are great! I want to play this, and now I have to wait until it gets released. I'm so excited for this game, because it's like mm-hmm. I like it. Oh, it looks so cool. Like legit. Like I'm actually like super hyped for this game because this is a game that I can actually get behind because unlike For Honor, it actually has a really cool idea for a world lore. It has a very, very, very tight mechanic system by the looks of it because it looks like they're just copying off Company of Heroes, which is a game, by the way, that I recommend a lot of people should play. All the expansions of one being Company of Heroes Opposing Fronts, Tales of Valor, Company of Heroes 2, and then all the expansion packs for Company of Heroes 2 because you get the like it's so good. It's fantastic. The game. But at the same time, I understand why a lot of people were like, because surprise, it's like Company of Heroes 2, while great, it was lacking. Mm-hmm. It was close. It almost lived up to Company of Heroes 1. And I give it props for that. This
game though looks like it is something more than Company of Heroes. Like Company of Heroes, like is very much like a World War II game. And
It is it is a World War II game.
but you know what you're getting with that. Whereas this like is so different that it's like oh okay, like this doesn't feel the same niche. It's in the same vein, but it's not in. It's not like just ripping out like entire things. It's something different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right now we're just speculating on the trailer, and it's something. But like I like it. It looks good. I'm interested.
They're what they call air quote pre-alpha.
Yeah.
They are in pre-alpha, but they've been building this thing for at least from when I first saw it, which is about a few months ago when I first saw it.
Well, the thing is,
and I got a little. I saw images for. I was like, that's really cool looking. I like the idea about it.
I mean,
But at the same time, I kind of like sat down and go, okay, there's a lot of things that could go wrong with this game, and I'm a little worried about that.
it's the only thing that sucks though is that the actual true meaning of what a pre-alpha is not exactly what that trailer is. It's like, oh, I'm actually.
That trailer looked like.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when they say pre-alpha, it's gonna be fucking like squares and cubes fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's pre-alpha. That's my only gripe. It was like, oh man, the word alpha and like beta and shit like that are just getting further and further watered down to the point of like how like the public doesn't know what the phrase and meaning of those words are.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
whatever.
the word pre-alpha and alpha and beta have been like dragged through the mud. Like it no longer means anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So nowadays you just say super fucking early. How about that?
Still in like, pre-alpha.
Yeah, like the pre-alpha. Yeah, that old.
Yeah. Still like actually in development.
It's not early access. We actually are going to spend our time on it. What? Not early access? Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, sounds like you're just going to be jizzing all over this game when it comes out.
Alan, when it comes out,
no.
Alan's just going to spend like a week. We're going to record him. We're going to lock him in a room with food.
You're just going to hear him masturbate the entire
And
time.
water.
What is the movie with the guy who gets his neck cut open, and like a guy's like trapped in a room for like Old Boy? We're gonna do an Old Boy with Alan for 5 days. Alan's gonna be locked in a room with nothing but the game and food, and then after 5 days, Alan's gonna review the game on the show. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. He's not gonna want to kill us or anything.
I'm not gonna do the room thing, but I'm totally up for reviewing this game when it comes out.
I mean, Alan, how are we gonna keep you objectively honest if we don't lock you in a room for 5 days?
Well,
Other than maybe opening up the door and letting you go to the bathroom, of course, and going outside.
Counterpoint. I'm a very honest person, so you don't have to worry about that.
So you're not like Nathan Grayson.
Oh.
Can we?
What happened?
Okay. So, talking about this.
The other one's in the bag.
Well, Feminist Frequency recently harassed a transgender journalist, and shit hit the fan. Needless to say. The transgender journalist is no longer on Twitter for a bit.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Anita Sarkeesian literally harassed a girl off of Twitter.
Yep, I will.
So.
Yeah, just.
Here's the thing. Again, we have to ask the question: is Anita Sarkeesian in the right here?
I don't.
I have to go for a few seconds.
Anyways. Don't know.
Harassing anyone?
Question mark?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't agree with harassing anyone online. I don't agree with any of that stuff. Like, I don't see the point in, like.
I mean, unless the person is standing over someone else unconscious with their blood on their fists, then you could probably harass and beat the shit out of the other said person. But,
at that point, you're protecting someone. That's different. That's a entirely different story point.
Okay, so how about?
Okay. What I mean, like, I don't agree with harassment because if you look at if you let's say we're gonna go with what the feminists and non-feminists are, we have differing opinions. Instead of harassing them, you should mock them. You should satirize them, because that destroys their arguments so much more than what any kind of harassment does. Harassment actually justifies their arguments. And that's the big thing, is like when you see like any anti-feminist, anti-Black Lives Matter, any Antifa, any if you ever see, like, again, like this is a big thing, by the way. Like this is my recommendation to anybody who listens to these podcasts and anybody who listens to, like, me in general, because I know I have a lot of bad ideas. But like, you shouldn't ever like go after someone just because you don't like their ideas and go after the person. This is the reason why doxing is not a good thing. This is the reason why, like, causing physical harm in the political atmosphere is a terrible, terrible idea. It's the reason why, like, you should always, like, break down the person's arguments or satirize them or mock them. Not mock the person, mock their ideas. Because if you mock them and they don't hold up to and if they still stand strong after being mocked, well, they might actually be good ideas. You can just mock them because sometimes they're just dumb, but they're good ideas at the same time. Surprise, surprise. That's the reason why we now have standing armies, because a lot of people were like, "That's a dumb idea. Why do we want to have a standing army?" And the Romans did it, and everybody was like, "Huh, that's actually cool. That's a really cool idea. Maybe we should do that." But like, but like, at the same time, I don't. Harassing someone just because they have a differing opinion from you, or you don't agree with them, or you just don't even like them, don't do it. You're an asshole. End of discussion. Because, Josh, I don't like you. I've made my opinion stated. I have made my statement. Josh can return the point, which he just awes and just sad. He's sad. And if somebody who likes Josh harassed me, I'd be like, well, I guess I can hate Josh now because people who like Josh are harassing me. So you know what? I'll just keep bugging Josh. Because that's the kind of mentality you get into when you actually like harass someone, is they become justified in their points. It's the reason why with like what's going on down in the U.S. and it's Ville. The reason why, like, you saw what happened and how like it like exploded to the point is anytime somebody had a differing opinion to like these extreme leftist groups' views, they caused violence, they caused property damage, they did great, terrible, damning things to their arguments, and the right had enough. And the last time the right tried to stand up for themselves, which was at a free speech rally, they got attacked, and suddenly everything like everything they're standing for just becomes a lot of them becomes entirely justified for them to suddenly speak, because now instead of just being like, oh well, we're gonna mock you, we're not gonna counter protest, we're just gonna laugh at them and mock them for what they are, because a lot of them, like, neo-Nazis are retarded and like white supremacists are retarded. But like, the big thing is the moment you like start bringing bats and
the moment you meet violence with violence is the moment when something bad happens.
Yes, and what's its name, Ville,
Charlottesville, yeah,
the U.S. No. You said we are not talking about it, so we are not talking about it. That's the reason why, like, when I heard Trump, and I know a lot of people won't like me saying this. Trump was right in his statement by saying violence caused by many different sides is because the violence started with Antifa, and then the right responded. And now it's like, as one of the political YouTubers I watch stated in one of his videos, we're in the U.S. is almost becoming like a Wehrmacht, a Weimar state, like the Weimar Republic for Germany, between Nazi Germany and the German Empire. And it's really unfortunate because like you can just see these events happening and you're going, we're going down this path. It's a thing now because the left couldn't keep it in its pants. And it's really frustrating because it's the same thing with the harassment thing. It's like the moment you like, I keep equating violence to harassment just because it's the best way for me to do this. But like to defeat someone, you have to defeat them verbally and with mockery. If they withstand the mockery and you can't destroy their arguments by debating with them. Surprise, surprise! Their arguments are valid. I hate to break it to you guys. So just don't resort to harassment or anything. Like, don't do it. Never, ever. It's a bad idea. And I just
you want to continue off of this, yeah.
I really do. I really want to talk about Charlottesville, but I know I shouldn't because like.
Do you want to talk about this off the record and then like have it maybe at the end of the show, like how I had my rant at the beginning of the show? Anyways, how did we get on this topic? Oh yeah, Nita Sarkeesian attacks game journalists, and then we also have and then they apologized
for Anita harassing.
Yeah, sound familiar? Does this sound familiar, guys? I can't understand why.
I'm okay. I want to get off this topic because I'm gonna get angry, and I don't want to stay angry for the rest of the night.
I think
I'm sorry.
It's bullshit. Everything's bullshit.
Surprise! The world is going to hell. Hey,
Josh, are you back? Are you alive?
What's this Sanctuary RPG Black Edition?
Oh man, I had such a great dream. It was full of hot chicks and
they were all
people.
stroking
naked.
my dick.
Yeah, they're all stroking my dick.
Josh, we all know
So
that will
good.
never happen to you, unfortunately.
It will happen eventually.
It will be a dude who does it for you.
I mean, if it's a hot-looking dude, I wouldn't complain.
It will be a trap. Like me and Allan will be like, yeah, Josh, we bought you a hooker, and then it will turn out to be a man, and then we'll be like, well, we have no money to get it to. Yeah.
A new one.
So this one's good enough for you.
To which my response is, by the way, traps aren't gay, and then I leave the room.
It's a trap.
To be fair, I would just say, look, man, look. This is all I'm going to say to you, man. Is gender is non-binary, and then just walk away.
I would smack you for that one.
I'd be the only one in the room with said person, and I'd just be like, "You want to play Tekken?" Yeah, I want to play Tekken.
Yeah, Josh, it would be the easiest gig for that poor human being that night.
Oh, are you kidding? I think half of those escorts would be like, "Oh, sweet, this guy just doesn't want sex. It's awesome." It'd be the most breath of fresh air ever.
Oh, this guy doesn't want me to use my only asset of making money right now? Yeah, okay.
No, who said there's not going to get paid for just doing for when trying to say that basically when they go out and do their jobs, half of the time they're not getting sexed up.
They're
half the time they're
standing
not
there
doing that.
looking cute.
Why do we end up on this topic?
Anyway.
Why are we in this dark
because you
hole?
brought it up, man. Because you brought it up.
You want to talk about another dark hole I jumped into?
Well, no. I want to just finish up this antidote by saying, look, it could be so much worse. You could end up in a strip club, wasted all your money on a stripper, and then just had a nice conversation. Trust me, I have done that.
Hey. Some of them strippers actually know how to have a solid conversation. You know it. I know it. They know it.
I know it. Yeah. By choice.
I mean, I haven't ever actually experienced that yet, thank the heavens, because I don't go to strip clubs. But I've heard stories.
Allan, I got bad news for you. I may
What?
have gone to a strip club and done that very thing.
I'm not surprised, actually.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being such a sick fuck.
Eh.
I mean, I don't know how it's being a sick fuck. It's just Jeff. There are better ways to spend your money.
Agreed.
A lot
Agreed.
better
I
ways.
could have bought a Pro Charger for my Mustang.
Exactly.
You know. Could have bought
Anyway,
a 6-speed transmission.
I played an RPG.
Did
It's
you
called
now?
Sanctuary. It's called Sanctuary RPG Black Edition.
Oh, how many dicks does it have in it?
It actually surprisingly no dicks. It's a DOS-inspired old RPG from the day. So basically, it's like you have to choose your options by hitting 1, 2, or 3. Or sometimes the game would be like, oh, you can go to the tavern, hit D, or oh, you can go to the go to your camp by hitting G or whatever. But the thing is, this game it leans into that kind of gameplay, but it doesn't quite go into it super hard because it's more leading towards of like, oh, it's a game that has permadeath, but at the same time is like you can get stronger over time, and your weapons can scale with you. So it's more of like you just play smart in this game. You won't have to die horribly. So I've gotten up to pretty high levels in the game. Although it seems like later on in the game you can get like to level 300 and shit, like just way up there. And I can only get up to like about 50 right now because I keep fucking up with my healing every time in the battles. That's another thing about the game. It's like it plays like it looks like an old DOS game, but it plays like a really good turn-based action game of like, I want to say Persona, because I mean it's not as hardcore as Persona, but you do have to worry about the creature you're fighting is like, oh, it's gonna do a charge move. You better parry this move before it does it, and you can try to parry it through the combo system it has, and you have tons of different spells you can do. So many.
Josh, I love you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pause your statement after what you just said.
What?
Big pause button. Persona's not the hard game. Go play. Oh Jesus Christ. Shinigami Tensei. Persona might be part of that series, but it's not the main series. Unpause. Keep going.
Yeah.
I just pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah, I want to say I might have a disc of that game somewhere, but I don't know.
I might end up dead if I'm not on next week. You all know why.
Like anyone who listens to our fucking horrible show. But anyway, I play the shit out of this game, and the combat system is. I like the combat system because you have to pay attention in this combat system. And so far, the combat system is pretty good. Like, you have a combo thing going on, and as long as you keep attacking, your combos keep going. But then you have to worry about the monster attacking you, so you have to either try to dodge, you can try to parry, you can try to riposte, you can try to put up a barrier that can take less damage, you can try to do a buff, like a warp, like steals all your mana, but it gives you huge attack power. There's a lot of shit you can do. And also, if your combo meter goes up high enough, you can do like basically ultimate abilities. So you just obliterate the opponent if you get it high enough. And it's pretty satisfying to be like, oh man, I'm not sure if I'm gonna kill this boss. And then you look down and go, oh yeah, I have my ultimate R. Oh, it's dead. Thank God. Now I gotta keep going and go back to the shop and keep grinding out my character.
This game sounds bad.
It's not bad. It's definitely like it leans into the.
It's as Immortan Joe put it, mediocre.
Yeah, like it's for me, it's turning that crank in my head of like, oh, it's an RPG and I'm getting into it. It's nice and it's pretty like I guess it's pretty slack for an RPG. But at the same time, it's like, oh, it has its charms to it, and there is a bit of a story attached to it as well. And so far, the story I've understood was that you're trying to defeat a wizard sealed the thing away, and then you made your character, then your character just pops out of the ether, and people are like, "Oh, help the town, please help us!" And of course, your character, when he starts out, you're a lone potato farmer, and all you ever want to do is talk about potatoes. So you're
Sounds like you're playing Stardew Valley.
a little bit.
Whoops! Shots fired.
Well, the funny thing is, because you're a potato farmer, when you open up the tavern, that's another part of the game. You can have a tavern open up to you, and you start selling drinks in the tavern. You try to do jokes in the tavern, but they're all potato based. So everyone, they rarely work, but sometimes you get gifts, and you'd be like, "Sweet! I hope this is an armor. I can upgrade my shit." And you can sell a bunch of drinks in the tavern and make money off of that, and I don't know, I like it. Mm-hmm. I like it quite a bit. It's a pretty short game though, because once you figure out what to do, you can just blaze right through it and not be retarded in the combat like I did. But again, I like it. It's kind of bare bones, but you can get into it. I give it a 10 out of 10.
You give it a 10 out of 10?
I give it 10 out of 10.
Is this a good 10 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10? Is it a 10 out of 10?
It's an A.
So it's an A. 10 out of 10. Okay, good to know. Guys, I got another thing to talk about that's very saddening.
What?
Well, Allan, I hope you know, with sorrow and sad hearts,
Jeff, don't do this to me.
Hooters is shutting down.
Oh, fuck, no. Press F to pay respects to boobs.
Press F to pay respects for boobs. That's the episode title. I don't care. That's the episode title. Press F to pay respects for boobs.
For boobs.
Boobs.
That's pretty much it.
I mean, so I figured that we should mention this. Millennials recently, a report came out saying recently, millennials no longer like boobs. Now I have a chat that says the opposite. But
yeah, we have like several chats that say opposite. It's not that we don't like boobs. It's just that who the fuck
we just
wants
don't
to go
want
to
to
Hooters
spend
nowadays?
money for boobs.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to do the work for boobs. There you go.
Exactly. Like, Hooters worked out in the first place because the internet didn't fucking exist.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only reason why.
Yeah.
So
Allan's probably
and
shaking his head
modern...
right now, right?
I am. I'm very disappointed.
Allan, have you ever been to Hooters? It's a terrible place. You should never go.
Well, no, I've been to Hooters
Okay.
once. It's not bad. It's just
Expensive and you.
It's mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the
Mediocre.
place. It's the place where you go when you're really desperate, and then you feel like trash. Like, am I wrong by that?
You're not wrong.
I don't.
And the waitresses are rubbing your backs.
Yeah, when the waitresses are like, when like you basically like. Okay, here's a fun game for our listeners to play. If you ever want to play a fun game, it is go to Hooters and try to keep eyes on the waiters, on her eyes. Do this with a feminist around and watch the fun. Trust me, you'll get. You've done the.
I'm worried.
Okay, it is hilarious. It's funny. It's great. It's great fun. Fun by a ball. Okay. Yeah, Hooters is shutting down. I don't know. It's.
It sucks that Hooters is shutting down, but at the same time, I'm kind of just a little indifferent.
I just don't care anymore because like we have a bot that literally gives us. That's called Boob Bop. Yeah,
free
it's
boobs.
Boob Bot. Boob Bot gives us boobs. You can thank Shane for
and
that.
sometimes
one.
you can get cat girl boobs or real boobs.
I prefer real boobs.
Cat girl.
Oh,
Okay.
You almost said I prefer cat boobs, and you're like, wait.
I realized what I was saying.
Hey.
You realized what rabbit hole you were about to go down.
I mean, what is
And
the
you're
line
like-
that's on Head IRL all the time? Real girls are nothing. Real girls are nothing. That's the line, I think. And it's like no, you're wrong. Anyways,
Anime.
it's funny because it's funny. Yeah, Hooters.
You're trying to come.
I'm trying to come up with a way in order to segue off of this Hooters nonsense because Hooters
you
was.
Can't. You can't.
It was something stupid that really shouldn't have existed. Although, then again, we also have to talk about Skaven, which is also something stupid that shouldn't exist. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. You can kill me next meeting.
It's gonna say what? What's the next thing?
Skaven.
Skaven?
Skaven.
Yes, the furry little fluff balls from Warhammer Universe. Now, okay, Warhammer 2. I don't agree with it being $70, but you know what? Fine. Okay, I don't care. At this point, it's a game. It's a thing. Who cares? However, the Skaven. The Skaven are probably the most unique idea for a fantasy race ever, because they're a steampunk rat-like race that like backstep. They are literally like, you don't know, like I can't compare them to anyone like in any other fantasy universe because it's kind of hard to, because like straight up it's like, who do you compare them to? And then you just go, you compare them to Skaven. That's shit, that's the same faction, motherfucker. Like they are like, they backstab, they steal, they loot, they rape. They don't rape, they just kill and defecate and just use the bodies to like feed upon. They're like
they ask for consent before they rape.
They don't even. No. Okay.
How does Skaven reproduce, Allan?
No, we're not having this discussion.
Talk about the tune.
I'm going to stop. I'm gonna recommend someone to go for lore, which is Arch Warhammer on YouTube. He does a lot of Warhammer lore. Go watch him. He's fantastic for this because he has some really funny stuff. But he's also like, he loves the Skaven, and he like in one of his comments like, say it with me, folks. The only way you can tell, there's no way you can trust a Skaven. Don't turn your back upon them, or else you'll end up with a knife in the back. And all that, like it's a weird saying and all stuff, but at the same time, like I kind of like sit down and I looked at the Skaven announcement trailer. Even though we all knew the Skaven were in Warhammer 2 because a lot of us Warhammer players saw on the big 2 the little etchings of Skaven clans on the 2, so we're like, yo, we know you're there, sweet bro. But the trailer shows off some really wicked stuff. It shows off the hell spawn abomination, which is a thing which in the old tabletop, it literally, you could kill it. You would kill it. The model would be removed from the model, but the model would not be removed from the table because there's a chance for the rest of the game it just gets back up.
That does not sound like a good thing.
You're not wrong. They have rat ogres, which literally get augmented by Clan Skyer, Clan Molder, who are literally like weird, fucked up biochemists, naturalists who just strap tech to like giant, oversized creatures to literally make them like a thing, to make them even bigger, more powerful than the normal Skaven. They have huge armies of slaves they just throw at people. They have clan rats. They have the like, holy crap. They have a weapon that literally runs off rats in a wheel running, that shoots literal warp lightning out of crystals. They have a weapon that's on a huge mountain that literally just blows up walls. They have a bell that 95% of the time it'll do something, and that 5% of the time, the first time you toll it literally blows up. It happens. Skaven is a thing, but it's just so cool, and like it's so wicked. I love the Skaven, but I'm a little upset. There's 2 clans that are not included. That being, one clan is included, but like they're missing pieces from it. It's kind of unfortunate, and it's their warp lock engineers, and they basically it's basically steampunk weapons with magic that is literally imbued with nothing but the plague and rot and death and decay. And like, I want to see the Janissaries, which are literally sniper rifles that shoot lightning 2 kilometers away, because why not? and I want to see Ratling guns. Yes, they're not. They have a Gatling gun called a Ratling gun that that literally sucks up like hordes of rats and shoots them at you, imbued with the warp energy of the warp stones, and it's just, oh yes, it's like the Skaven are literally a steampunk rat race, and it's really fucking cool. And I assume Jeff and Josh are going to watch the trailer when they get the chance. I strongly recommend people go watch the trailer. They've also released the campaign intro, which is just shows like it explains what the Skaven are in the most broadest term. They're a festering, rotting race that lives in the underground and festers and takes over lands and makes them putrid and rotted, and all that fun jazz. And then on top of that, then it shows them like the Council of 13, because their god sits on the council because he's a fucking asshole, and the other 12 seats are filled up by the greater clans of the kingdom or the race. And like you follow two clans, and I can't remember what the second clan is, but the first clan is Clan Pestilence, and like, oh, Clan Pestilence, that's a story in all in itself, and I don't want to talk about them because fuck them, holy shit. But like I don't know how to. You just watch the trailers, watch the intro, see if you like what they look like. They're cute, they're fluffy, they're ugly, they're disgusting, they're backstabbing assholes. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So this is an RTS or more?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Warhammer 2 Total War. It's a Total War game.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, I think, Josh, that you would be someone who'd actually like it. I'm not gonna lie, I actually genuinely think that you'd really, really like that game. Especially the Skaven. The Skaven seem right up your alley because they are a literal horde army, and holy shit. To say horde army when you can literally put 200 models on the table for 40 points or for 400 points. No other army can do that, by the way. No other army can put 200 models on the table for not even a quarter of your army's total point list in the old tabletop game. And they were just slaves with slings. You could do that. That was a thing.
It's like Crix and Warhammer.
That was a scary thing.
It's like, what's your battle plan? I'm going to just throw more people at you. What?
I'm just gonna throw. I've got 300 clan rats on the table. What? Yeah, I just got 300 clan rats. I'm just gonna throw them at you, and if you don't stop moving, I will make you stop moving. And it's just they are a lovely, wonderful race. They are basically the bugs from Starship Trooper made rat, but like
speaking
worse.
of that.
Yeah, the segue was there. I know, I'm sorry. But Starship Troopers, the Traitor of Mars comes out on Monday, the 21st of August. I want the audience, I know the people who, I can't guarantee the people in the audience will listen to this, but at the same time, go see this movie. I hope to the gods it's good. It's got the original actor of Johnny Rico in it. It looks like it's got Dizzy in it. It looks like it's a very interesting plot. It looks like it's a little bit more gritty than before. It looks fun. And at the same time, I'm kind of like, it's releasing on a Monday. I don't think they expect to do very well, but hey, we'll see how it goes.
They care.
So,
it's a CG movie? Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
And it looks really nice. But that's the thing. I've seen the other CGI movie. And I really enjoyed it because it poked fun at itself in some cases. Like, it made fun of the "Would you like to know more" from the original movie. It poked fun at like how Rico and Carmen are not a thing. It poked fun at Carl. It poked fun at the fact that like the Starship Troopers are in the original series were fucking pushovers compared to these groups of soldiers now.
I'm gonna say, do they still carry over that motif of? Like in the original film, it was more of like, oh, these guys, like, what was it? This is like the what if scenario of fascism won or something. That's sort of
no. The entire point behind what, and I actually recommend people read the book for this. But the reason why in Starship Troopers, the reason why the Federation comes off incredibly fascist is because they are a military republic. You have to do military service or public service in some way, shape, or form. And in the book, they actually say, like, there's a lot of other ways. The military is the fastest and most expedient, but also the most dangerous and probably the most likely one to get you killed, to get public service. But you don't need to do it. It's not mandatory. It's something you choose to do to get the right to vote, to have your opinion heard in the courts, in the government. Like, the moment you get that right to vote, you and as they point out in the movie, you're to make your opinion known, to vote is a way of violence, and that is the reason why it's so important, is because the universe is not this kind, friendly, happy universe. And they actually point out in the book, it's like, well, why do you suppose we hit kids? Why do we suppose we discipline them with like a hit to the back of the head? Why do you suppose we do this kind of stuff? And they, like, somebody points out, it's like, well, it's not fair to the kids. And it's like, well, is it not fair to not smack the dog on a rump because it peed on the mat? And it's like, well, that's not the same thing. How is it not the same thing? The dog's an animal. We're an animal. Why should we not be disciplining our youth for messing up? Why should we fail? How do we fail ourselves by not teaching children how to be responsible and how to, like, look after themselves? How do we there's even another big point where, like, they actually, one of the troopers asked, why would you want to why do we have to still have infantry in an age where we have nukes? And the question that's brought up is, why if a baby angers you, do you hit it with an axe? And the guy goes, well, no, that's just excessive. Then why would you hit someone who with a nuke if all they're doing is protesting? And, like, it's actually it's a really good book. I strongly recommend people read it. It's one of those books that I'm like, no, this should be like actual reading material in high schools, because it brings up the point of, like, because, like, in the book, it even straight up says, like, yeah, no, the Federation isn't the best, but at the same time, it's actually a pretty damn decent government. It's not like you yeah, it's a two-class system. It's a two-class system. You have a citizen, you have civilians. Surprise, surprise. And you have to earn it some way to get to citizen. But, like, they point out in the book that if you go full-time reg force military, you don't get the right to vote till you retire.
That makes sense.
Which makes sense. And, like, they even point out, like, the reason why it became, like, a more militarist state is because after this big global war that, like, literally almost ripped the world apart in the 21st century, the veterans got released, and instead, like everybody just like, well, we don't have the money to pay all these things, so we're just going to release the veterans and send them home. We're going to try and settle this out. And then anarchy happened, and the veterans in Scotland, because they specifically state it's in England and Scotland it starts, where the veterans turned around and they started like disciplining anarchists by, like, okay, we're gonna bring back the death penalty if you guys don't stop. The anarchists don't stop, and they hang them. And then some of the old veterans actually cause problems themselves. And it's like, well, unfortunately because of the system we've now integrated, you're not off the hook. We're gonna hang you. And, like, it becomes an incredibly meritocratic society in the books. Like, you earn what you earn is what you get, and if you want something, you have to earn it. Like, and that's the thing. Like, even the movie points that I was like, for Johnny Rico to like he, like, in the book, he doesn't want to do mobile infantry. Mobile infantry is his last option, and the recruiting officer in front of him is going through these long lists of, like, classes, and it comes to his second last one, which is side dog specialist, which is a dog that is psionically connected to you and has a personality of its own, and it talks and all that fun jazz. They're basically scout infantry. And the officer asks him, hey, did you ever have a dog? Yeah. It's like, well, did you ever sneak? Where did your dog stay? He stayed outside like a good dog. It's like, did you ever try to sneak him into your room? Well, no, it would have upset my father. Then I don't think you're good for the side dog industry. He's like, well, what I mean, if a kid who if you aren't willing enough to try and sneak your dog into your bed with you ever so often to give him a love and affection, then you really aren't good for like the side dog program, because you will have even more intimate bond with your dogs. So let me tell you about the mobile infantry, and that's how he finishes the recruiting chapter when he goes through his recruitment. it brings up the top. Like it's actually like I giggled when I read that. I was like, wow, he just ran him through everything because he literally like, the top things that he wanted to do, he didn't have the grades for. They went through the other ones, and he just he went through like the list of things that he didn't want to, and it narrowed it down to like 3 options. And the guy straight up comments on one of them. It's like, yeah, I can't actually put you into that slot because that slot's all full up for recruitment right now. So I'm gonna have to go with one of the other 2 options. And I'm just giggling to myself because I'm like, oh my god, this is actually how recruitment works. And it's just I giggled way too hard.
It's safe to say you're very excited about this movie. Now let's move on to something else, like Fist of Jesus.
Go for it.
Fist of Jesus is a beat 'em up.
I have to look into this because I might actually own it in my account here.
Allan is left, so he's gone. Fist of Jesus is a beat 'em up game. It's really fun. It's 10 out of 10. It's like it's based on a movie where Jesus revives somebody, and instead of reviving somebody, he makes them into how do I put it? A zombie.
It makes it what?
He makes a zombie.
Oh, okay. Because so far, I'm clicking through the images. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, and then like, oh, zombies. Okay.
Yeah. So like this game has divine executions and stuff like that. So it's one of the nicer games on the market right now because you have stuff like Jesus sitting there being like, well, like everything's okay and that life is fine, and it's like one of those weird games where you kind of have to like play it in order to see what it's about.
Because just looking through the images, I'm like, this looks like a typical beat 'em up.
It is,
but I'm sure, yeah, it almost looks like a beat 'em up for a cell phone.
It does, and but it's a fully consoleized game, and it's very interesting because it's so weird. Like whoever thought of this is like a genius. Like, hey, Jesus brought back a zombie instead of something else. So.
Oh, you have to draw a mission. That's cool.
Yeah.
It looks like you fight chickens. It looks like you fight a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun beat 'em up game. It gets pretty challenging towards the end, and they've been updating it recently. So, I think it's one of the cooler games on the market.
That's nice. It is only like $3.30 apparently. I mean, sell all your cards and you have enough to play this game.
Yeah, which is interesting, considering that we have another thing with Valve recently where they've been apparently leveraging, telling people like, no, we're not letting you produce more Steam cards so that way then you can make more money, giving it to key farmers. So.
Yeah. But also, they added a new rule for that, didn't they? For if someone's being abusive of that stuff, just take it away. So do it on the down low. Shh! Don't let Steam know.
Too much.
Fake your records, make it look like you're selling stuff.
Yeah. Or buy the game on Steam.
Yeah.
Put the game on for $1 and then sell it.
Exactly. Oh.
Anyways.
Yeah. That's a game.
We have one more topic, and it's Allan's topic. So Allan's busy coming because he's busy. He really likes those games or those movies. Starship Troopers. He really, really likes them a lot. It's just one.
Yeah, he's just slow jerking it in the corner right now. Well, he's doing a meditation jerk because he just can't think straight.
Yeah,
he just needs to get it out of his system.
Yeah. So let's talk about the brand new. Well, Allan jerks himself off. So
I'm right here. Fuck off.
Well, okay, so he did it right in front of us, so that's...
Fantasy Flighting Games is a really good game company.
Nope. Well, yeah, they are a fantastic game company. Jeff knows it.
They make tons of really great games.
Then they've done 3 things this weekend, and I'm actually really happy about it because, this has all been announced over the past 2 days. Today they announced, at Gen Con that they did a poll, or they went onto the forums and looked through the X-Wing forums to see what were the 3 most requested ships. One for Scum, one for Rebels, and one for the Empire. The Scum got some heavy attack bomber. Who cares? It's a dumb ship. The Rebels got the Phantom II, which is, if you've watched Rebels, the TV series, you know what it is. It's one of the old droid shuttles. And then the Imperials got something they've been begging for since the game was initially released.
About the Death Star?
And no, that's Armada, and the joke. And by the way, the jokes about what the announcement for Armada are fucking funny today. But that's beside the point. In X-Wing, they announced that they're doing the assault gunboat. If anybody who's played the old X-Wing versus TIE Fighter knows what this thing looks like, it's an Imperial warship that doesn't look like a TIE Fighter, and I love it because it's a dorky ship.
It looks funny,
and it looks funny. It looks like this. I will actually send an image online for it, but it's a missile boat. It's a gunboat. It's so cool. It's actually really fun. Then they announced something else today, which is Star Wars Legion, which is another tabletop game. I'm probably going to drop a bunch of money into because it's a tabletop war game for Star Wars. It's like Armada, but instead of doing it up in space, you're doing it on the ground. So what they've announced so far is they have speeder bikes, stormtroopers, Darth Vader. For the Empire, as far as I can tell, that's what I've seen in the images for it. And for the Rebels, they have Rebel soldiers. I think they have one other unit, but and they have Luke Skywalker. And this is the new product they've announced, and it looks really cool. And on the box cover art, you see that they have ATSTs in the background, and you see they have the Rebels have there's hints that there's Rebel T1 attack hover tanks, and it looks actually straight up really cool. I'm actually really excited about it because everything about the game is it's a lot like Armada with you have the way you move is with tick dials, which is you have a ruler that has tick points where you can bend it, and it bends a certain point and all that fun jazz. So you can't just do what Warhammer 40K does, but it also has the same kind of it has the same kind of shooting mechanics and stuff like that. And I'm just
giddy with joy.
I'm giddy with joy. I got really surprised when I heard about it. I was like, "Yo, this is a thing." I'm actually really excited about it. And then the other little thing that happened, and it was a quick little 2-second comment about Star Wars Armada, and the comment was, "We're developing something big," and it was quick, it was hard, it was fast, and a lot of people didn't catch it. But on the forums, the people who did catch it, it's we're developing something big, and it went a lot of people started discussing. So, well, they're in development. There's not going to be an announcement for another few months. But then somebody made the joke of, no, it's probably the Superstar. No, it's probably the Resurgent class Star Destroyer. No, guys, it's an inflatable Death Star that's 4 feet or the size of a Volkswagen maybe a Volkswagen Coupe, I burst out laughing when I read that comment. And a lot of people are actually really excited about seeing how these games are going to work, and seeing how we're going to have how these games are going to work, and develop how this game is going to come out. Because everything about this game so far, it looks like Fantasy Flight has done things that I wasn't ready for, and I'm really happy they've done it. But at the same time, I'm like, shut up and give me news about Armada, you sons of bitches.
Can I just
Why are
say
you-
the most important announcement that you're skipping over? Twilight Imperium's getting a 4th edition, man.
Yeah, that's right. Twilight Imperium's
Now,
getting a 4th
that's a game
edition.
that we should play
I-
one day.
I don't have 12 hours to play
I know, none of us do. But just making Josh very angry at wasting a day of his life would be worth it. Even making Linus
It would be worth it.
angry at us for wasting a day of his life while we play this stupid board game would be worth it.
Haha, joke's on you. I kind of get a kick out of trying to learn complicated board games, so ha!
So Josh,
I've played the game. I've played the game already, so I actually know how it works. Ha! Sucks for you, Josh.
Haha, I got a Sherpa to tell me what to do.
well, here's the thing with Twilight Imperium. It's a Cold War game, so you're not supposed to attack anyone.
I've been at war in that. By the way, I've been at war in that game. Holy fuck, is it hard to win at war? It is a slippery slope down both ways, and if you fuck up, you are just straight up dead.
I'm just gonna have a pencil just under, like, pinching it with my upper lip up against my nose. I'm gonna hold it there for the entire time, looking like a doofus, and be like, "I'm attacking! No, stop it! I'm attacking! Oh God, I can't win! I'm attacking! It's constantly. You can't deal with it. I'm attacking. Fuck!
Damn it, I'm dead.
Oh shit, I lost. I don't know how I lost, but I guess I lost.
You attacked. That's how you lost. Oh, I didn't know that. I actually I almost won one Twilight Imperium game I've ever played. It was me actually just building up military, and I almost just won straight off that. I had a huge fucking fleet,
Now,
but I lost. So
yeah.
Oh,
So
well.
Fantasy Flight made a bunch of awesome things. We're all excited. Josh is excited. I'm excited.
Sure.
I think that's a podcast. Let's check our email.
Sure.
Our email account that has nothing in it.
Our email account that has nothing in it because
Who listens to the show?
I mean, people supposedly listen to it. Supposedly.
Yeah, pretty much. We got no
Yeah.
email, so now we're very sad. But you can send us
Yeah,
an email
we're-
to
Yeah.
emails at bmg or emails bmgp@gmail.com. Okay?
So that's emails at GMP.
BMGP.
EMGP.
It's so complicated because I didn't really want to buy a domain.
At gmail.com.
gmail.com. Emails at
'Cause you're-
bmg@gmail.com.
Yeah. Because really, you could have bought a domain and be super professional about it, but then you're like, fuck it, we have no money.
We're not
Just no money.
professional. Everything goes into the game, so shut up.
Nothing, we have no money. We're trying to make a game. It's gonna happen eventually. We don't know when, but it's gonna happen.
Anyways, I think that's a podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us. You can listen to us. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and other amazing things. You can also listen to us every Thursday on blackmindgames.podbean.com. And you can also listen to us on YouTube now. We'll probably get demonetized.
wait, we're posting it. Oh.
Yeah, we're posting to YouTube right now. It's fine.
Never gonna get a job in the industry. Fuck.
It's not a big deal. I don't put you in there. I don't put your name on there. I just put Allan.
All right, whatever. Anyways, let's have a good night, guys.
Yep.
Be nice to everyone. Don't punch
Don't punch
Nazi.
people.
Just don't.
Punch all the people. Like. I gotta listen to this later. It sounds pretty good. Mm-hmm. Pain of Salvation. Actually, a really old band. I kind of remember seeing the album artwork a bunch of times.
Oh, that was a Mustang too. Oh, that's a nice car. Oh, well, I don't want to watch this because this guy's gonna like make me angry and make me upset in some weird way.
Because he has all the money.
No.
And you're like, oh, fuck him with all the money.
No. No.
It's like, I wish I had so much money I could own like a garage like Jay Leno.
It's more of it's just, how do I put it? It's more of those type of things like they make me sad, and I don't like seeing those things because they don't do anything to help the situation, and they just make the situation look worse. The situation being known as, how do I put it? The situation being known as mental health issues.
So owning more cars.
No. You don't even know what I'm talking about, dude.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm talking about a mentally disturbed man who went off in Costco today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And he's screaming at some poor guy.
Uh-huh.
And it's not Brady.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did he get shot?
No.
Yeah.
Let me put it like this. Let me put it like this. Bad shit happens all the time, man. There we go. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Windows 10 store game can crossplay with Steam now.
Wait, what? Oh, that's nice.
Rise of Nations, apparently.
Oh, that's nice.
Is Allan back?
No.
Sound like I have constipation pains here. I probably shouldn't watch that. HTML5 RTS. Oh, that's pretty neat.
I'm reading the book Kill 6 Billion Demons.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that's pretty good. I tried to read it, and I just kept getting hard blocked because of my freaking inhibition to read.
Oh my god, shit happens in the first book. Wow, they just eviscerate this poor soul.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I kept skipping through pages, but I was like, wow, shit, like, just blows up. Like,
and then she has this key put in her face. Oh,
yeah.
poor guy.
Or poor her, and then she slowly turns into a demon, sorta.
Yeah.
I just like the world that they jump into, because it's like, oh, there's actually, like, an ecosystem, and people have to obey by this ecosystem.
Yeah, I just like how, like, I'm just reading the first few pages, and, like, her face separates from her body, and then her soul pops out. That's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of neat visual effects in that book. Actually, there was one part I've read in that book. It was the starting of the universe. And it was practically, so this guy got bored, so he made another person in a division of himself, but opposite gender. And they were like, okay, so they had a fun time hanging out, and then they started to fight, and then they started to fuck, and then they started to fuck fight. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's how the universe started.
I wanna, so one of the characters in this in the game, I want to have it so that if you have the old brandy, you can use the old brandy on her like a quest item, and then you basically have a cutscene of you on the couch doing nothing. And then it's like, and then you guys are like drinking beer and stuff like that, and then it goes, and then the screen fades to black, and then you get and then it pops over a text window being like, "Do you consent to blank?" And it's like you have a yes or no option. And if you hit no, you get raped. If you hit yes, you have sex with the captain's daughter.
Do I even want to know what the fuck up we're coming into?
So I want to have a boss where if you have an item, you can sleep with her.
Maybe.
And so, like, if you have the old brandy, what you can do is you can sleep with her, and it's just a cutscene of you watching Netflix. And then it pops, and then it fades to black, and then you either hear noises, like noises of like a bed moving.
Oh my!
And then it pops up, "Do you consent? Yes or no?" And if you hit no, you can go to the general, and she gets taken care of by going. The general goes like, "Well, okay, I guess we'll go and capture her on rape charges." And then it's like this whole entire exchange of like you seem different. Something's wrong. And it's like, well, you can explain to her, or she'll just figure it out on her own. And it's like, you're a rape victim, like a Mike Lee film. At least it's not fake, like some people, because I can tell. Or it's gonna be like completely like straight-faced.
Maybe. Anyways, we should start this podcast.
No. I have to finish. I have to explain it to you.
No, we are starting the podcast
now.
Okay, sync in 3, 2, 1.